guys, welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for clicking on today's video, and today we are here to talk about the one and only Laurel Holloman appearing on pants. Now, just two things before I get started. One, make sure to subscribe to the channel, like the video if you enjoy it, and comment down below with any questions or thoughts, as I'm posting a video every single day throughout December 1st through 25th, and they're all L word themed. It's an L word advent calendar Christmas special, so make sure that you have notifications turned on, and we are starting to get season 2 news as well. Now, the second thing is, the way I've been doing these daily videos is I basically film the video the day before, because I've made a list and done a lot of the legwork and background work I do. So the day before, I just take time, do the rest of the background work, film, edit, and then I leave it uploading overnight. So then I do the final things in the afternoon, like when I finish with work, and then I post it. So yesterday I filmed, and then I hit the video to upload, and in the video tomorrow that you're going to see me saying, if Laurel Holloman's confirmed, I'll do this, blah, blah, blah. Well, obviously the second that I finished filming yesterday and editing, which takes a long time, they then confirmed Laurel Holloman. So basically tomorrow, just ignore my exposition before the video. So it's Wednesday morning. I've just finished listening to the episode. As fast as I can get this edited and up, the uploading is what takes a long time. So I will get this to you, I'm hoping today. And in the video tomorrow that you're going to see me saying, if Laurel Holloman's confirmed, I'll do this, blah, blah, blah. Well, obviously the second that I finished filming yesterday and editing, which takes a long time, they then confirmed Laurel Holloman. So basically tomorrow, just ignore my exposition before the video. So it's Wednesday morning. I've just finished listening to the episode. As fast as I can get this edited and up, the uploading is what takes a long time. So I will get this to you, I'm hoping today. And then Thursday, you will get the video you're supposed to get today. Friday is the live, don't forget, 7 p.m. UK time, 2 p.m. Eastern time, 11 a.m. Pacific time. And then all the videos carry on daily as per usual. I'm also thinking of doing another behind the scenes meta secrets and gossip video part 2, because a lot of people seem to like that video, and I have a lot of other information that is basically going wasted in my brain because I have L word on the brain all the time, and I know a ton of other stuff that it's just basically taking up space in my brain. So let's get on to what you're all here for, to talk about the Pants episode with Leisha Kate and Laurel Holloman. Well, I really, really, really enjoyed this episode. It's not gonna be any huge surprise. This is one of my favorite episodes of the podcast. I do normally listen every week. I definitely listen if there's an L word person on it. And then the other ones I usually do sometime over the weekend if I'm driving a lot. And overall, my favorites were, no surprises, Laurel Holloman, Jennifer Beals, Sarah Shahi, and I really liked the Mia Kirshner and Erin Daniel ones too. So the big takeaway news that I'll just jump around a lot with what they talked about, and that's basically what I've been saying for the past 11 months ever since they wrapped. Because today is a year since Generation Q started, which seems like a lifetime ago and yesterday at the same time. So Laurel was saying she is, without a shadow of a doubt, coming back for season 2. I've said that many times on the channel, and I guess now this is even more confirmation than we had before. That's of course amazing news. They talked about Bette Tina, and Laurel got asked, well, what do you want to happen and what do you think is going to happen? And as we know, those can be two very different things. So of course, Laurel has been really open about the fact in every form of media, especially when she came back last season, the surprise, they held that episode from screeners. Like normally, obviously I'm not privileged enough, but like, you know, media sources will get the episode before. I do actually get the episode a day before through something I've set up myself, but a lot of like the newspapers and TV critics and magazines and things, they'll get the episodes prior and be able to do, like, people who do like really successful, you know, podcasts and stuff. This goes for any show, not just the L Word. And they'll get the episode like a week or so before. And when Generation Q came out, they gave people the first 3 episodes, so they didn't let them know what happened to Kit or anything like that. And then they were doing the rest of the episodes weekly, but a few days before. And with the episode where Laurel appeared, they didn't give out any screeners, which is like a really big deal. And people only generally do that when it is something like Laurel's return, which is a huge deal. And when that happened, I mean, I've said before, that episode is the reason this channel exists, because I don't really have a gay community here, and I had to talk about Tina coming back. So, and anyway, Laurel was saying how when she came back, she did all the interviews, everything, like there was magazine articles galore, and in those she was very open about the fact that she said she thought Bentina, she wants them back together, she's a romantic. And Jennifer Beals did a ton of press around that episode too, and she also pretty much said the same thing. I'm gonna pop on the screen. I put it in an Instagram post yesterday, and there was a lot of people who told me they've seen this image a lot, but they didn't know where it came from or who did it. And this image is actually from Jennifer Beals' photography book, and she did it on a cab herself and then like took the picture. So she made the little Bette Tina forever thing. It's super cute, and so many people ask me where they can get that photography book, and I've wanted to do it as a giveaway on the channel for a really long time, but I cannot find that copy. I've been trying to find a copy so I can get one to give away, and it is like impossible. So if anyone has multiple copies and they want to sell me one, let me know, drop me a DM, and I will do it as a giveaway in the channel. Whenever I do get my hands on a copy, I will do a giveaway on the channel for it. So after Laurel basically said, I really want, you know, Bette and Tina back together, and that's what I think should happen, she then went on to say what she thought was going to happen, and that was that now, or for now, it's a co-parenting storyline.
Okay, 2 questions. 1, where do you think Bette and Tina will end up? And 2, where do you want them to end up?
Oh, can we all answer this question? Okay, if you guys care what happens to Bette and Tina, I don't know, maybe.
Are you kidding?
Trust me, plenty of people care what happens to Bette and Tina.
I'm a romantic, so of course, I always want to see, I don't know, as an actor, it's always interesting to play some tension and some unresolved issues. And maybe also in long-term relationships, you can't help but have that there. But I think right now it looks like a co-parenting story, you know, and what that's going to be. I don't know. I'd love to see them. I think we have to really find out who Carrie is, right?
Pretty torn about, I mean, if they're being really upfront about this and saying, please don't go in expecting, you know, them to get back together, blah blah blah, then it's, I don't know whether it's a great idea to be saying that, because I'm not one of them. Like, I will watch the show no matter what, but I feel like there's a lot of people who don't want to or aren't interested in the show without it. Or are they doing exactly what they did with Tina last season? Laurel Holloman's a painter, she's not going to be coming back, you know, she's too busy, and then boom, episode 6, we all get the surprise of our lives. Obviously they can't come out and say, oh yeah, we're going to put them back together, but it's just an interesting choice to be so, it's a co-parenting story, nothing, like there's no other hope. Because if they're upfront and saying that, some people, they're going to lose some audience, but on the other side, it is an awesome surprise if it happened. So I don't know, let me know your thoughts down in the comments about what she said about the co-parenting storyline, because I really, this is going to sound really bad, but I'm just not interested in that. Like, I know that there are couples out there who have a kid and are divorced and would be interested in it, but like, I am not a parent. I'm not in a relationship with someone who's a parent. Most of my friends, yeah, they have kids, but they're straight and they're married, and they literally have TV gold sitting right in front of them, and they're like, nah, I'm not gonna use it. Talking about TV gold, that leads me on to my next segue, and I loved listening to Leisha Kate and Laurel talking about how they felt over the 6 seasons of the L Word, because I mean, everyone who's been on the show has talked about it, Sarah Shahi and Erin Daniels and all that, about how it was such a different show, and I thought it was so awesome, like just the way they were talking about it. And Laurel was saying, you know, normally you go in and you're like someone's wife or girlfriend or mother, and but these were actual stories about real women and their real relationships and lives, and they were the central characters. And this is what I tell a lot of people about the show. I was talking to a friend the other day about Grey's Anatomy, and I was saying how there are no TV shows that you turn on and the first credit that comes up is a woman's name, and most of the following credits are women's names, and a woman is the main character that everything goes around. And okay, Grey's Anatomy is one, you know, How to Get Away with Murder and Scandal were two. They were created by the same person. They're both ended now, but like, correct me if I'm wrong, please, but there are no, and I mean, I'm not talking about little shows, I mean big impactful shows that go around the world, that there is no show where every single credit that comes up is a woman, basically. And you know, there's a few men, but it's predominantly women. And I think that's why, even though it's a lesbian show, a lot of straight people watch it. Like, I have tons of straight friends that watch it. My sister watches it. I know loads of people who watch it, and it's because they're telling women's stories, like, who just happen to be lesbians. I mean, Laurel just explained like perfectly, and Leisha and Kate, like how and why the L Word was such an important show for the cast, crew, and the fans. And it's just people seeing themselves represented on television. I talk about it all the time in my videos, because the L Word was the first time that I ever saw anyone like me really reflected on TV. And it's why I'm always talking about representation, and why I think that it is so important that not only there are shows like this, but there is such a strong like fandom. Like, exactly why I have this channel. Like, don't worry, I'm a 30-something-year-old woman, and I talk about a TV show all the time. Like, there's a reason. It's important. It's important that these stories are shown, and people where there aren't communities can see you are not the only one. There are other people like you in the world, and why it's important to know healthy and not healthy. And it just, I cannot overstate enough how important this show was to me going through like my later teen and 20 years. And I think it's kind of poignant that today Laura was on the show talking about this, and you know, it's 1 year since Generation Q came out, and it's even now, like when the first show came out, I was late teenager, early 20s, and I've said before in my videos, like, the thought of me, you know, in 12 years going on the internet and making a channel and actively telling people like, I'm a lesbian and I love the L word, it would have horrified me. I would have been like terrified, because when I watched the show, in the very, very beginning, I wasn't out, and I've just, you know, it's not even something I really think about in my daily life anymore. It's kind of just, well, when I think about, I wish I had a girlfriend. But it's, sometimes I see comments as well from younger people, and like, I wish I had the L word when I was way younger, when I was early teenager, because I mean, I knew I was gay from when I was like 8 years old, and I just always thought this is some terrible, shameful thing that you need to hide. And the L word has showed younger people now, like, this is you, there's nothing to hide, like, you are a part of this wonderful, weird, amazing queer community. And when people come in, and I'm not saying the L word is perfect, it's far from it. There is a lot of, you know, transphobia, and there's a lot of consent issues in the L word, but it is very much of its time. And for cisgendered lesbians, it predominantly, you know, middle to upper class, white, like, to me, it meant so much. And when people come in and, like, I don't mind making, you know, jokes and stuff about it, but people talk about, oh, well, this is, like, they just absolutely rag on it. I think, wow, you are in such a privileged position, because one, if they're straight or a man, I just always think, well, that's fine for you. You have your pick of 9 million television shows and films, so get lost. And then if it's another queer person or gay woman that's younger, I usually think, well, you have been in a world where there's Cali in Arizona on Grey's, there's the people on the 100, there's Orange is the New Black. Like, okay, that's still a really small list, but it's a damn list. And there was nothing else. There was Willow and Tara on Buffy, and that was it. They basically just really, really nailed what they were saying when they said the show had such a heavy, heavy impact. And I know that my channel is very, very tiny, but the other day, I mean, you can see some crazy analytics stuff on Google, and I was going through my YouTube analytics, and the people that watch my channel, and therefore, you know, they have to be L word fans. I don't see anyone coming to this channel if they didn't watch the L word. It's crazy. Like, I expected the US, I expected the UK, and, like, you know, Europe, but Middle East, India is like a really, really nice percentage of people who watch me. It's always in like the top 5. Brazil, Australia, New Zealand, Russia, like Saudi Arabia. It's absolutely wild. Like, I never thought in a million years there'd be people in all these countries watching. So hi to everyone. And I just, they nailed it when they were saying about, a fan was saying to Laurel, it was the first time I saw myself on television, as I've said that so many times on this channel, but impact is the absolute right word. Like, the show was so impactful to so many people, and just touched so many people's lives. And I think that all comes full circle into the story that Laurel told about being on the set of Castle, which was basically the first gig she did after the L word, and I think it's her last credit before being a painter for 10 years and then coming back on the L word. And I will drop the clip in here because I think it's really important.
I'm gonna be honest, you
Guys, I had a really good time doing this show, Gigantic, because it was some of our writers, like it was Angela, and it was also someone from Angel, Marty Noxon, who's just like really creative and amazing. So I had that kind of experience, and that was fun. And then I went and did like one episode.
Oh, right.
Well, I'm just going to say it. I did an episode of Castle.
Was that just the end where you're like, I'm out?
And the guy, one of the producers said, oh, that was it. I was like, I need a break. I'm going to say this now that the Me Too movement has
Say it.
literally like, and I'm like doing one of those typical scenes where you go and you're like, open the door and then you have to cry like crazy because your husband's dead or something and now the guy's talking to you, you know, that kind of thing.
Right.
Sure.
Yeah, all in service to the husband. Sure.
Yeah. And one of the producers like, oh, well, like, I can't believe you did the L word for 6 years. You must have been in your underwear a lot.
What?
Oh, God.
Are you serious?
And the heat just like went into my throat. And I walked back to my trailer after that. And I was just floored. I was so angry. And I realized I had been in this bubble of stories that were wonderful and beautiful and about women. And this guy was just tearing them down.
Right. Trying to make it base level male. Yeah.
As he's making Castle. Who gives a shit about Castle?
And that man is trash. That show is trash. Everyone is trash. And basically, yeah, that is everything that's wrong with the world. That people hear the L word or the actual L word, lesbian, and that's what they think. That's where their mind goes. And there's so many people that are just, for Christmas, I just need to go and buy like 50 copies of the complete series and just give them out to everyone. So back to what Laurel was saying. I've put my soapbox away now, don't worry. And when I was really glad that they talked about how Tina and Alice didn't see each other and that they were basically leaving. Well, Alice was leaving and Tina was arriving at Bette's and they somehow missed each other. And it was a fair point. Leisha Haley was like, you know, when you had your absolute worst moment, when Bette cheated on you and you needed to go somewhere, you went to Alice and you just wouldn't see her when you came into town. It made no sense. But again, I know they were limited on time, but it doesn't sound like from that conversation that Laurel was like, hey, I have 2 days, shoot as many scenes as you can. It seems as though the show, like as an entity, writers, producers, blah, 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 were more limiting how much time. So, I mean, I don't know if that for a fact, but that's what it sounded like to me. I think probably my favorite bit of the podcast. I mean, obviously, I loved hearing that Laurel wants them back together. I loved hearing Laurel is coming back, definitely for season 2, even though we knew that. But the bit where Leisha was saying that when they did the table read that she started crying, I was like, that is adorable, because Leisha and Kate, like, they are both gay women too, and I can't imagine what it must feel like to be a part of the show. And it just, I thought it was the sweetest story, and like Laurel was, and JB was crying and everyone was crying. It's the cutest thing, and you can understand how much they love the show and why they fought to get it back, and why after even 10 years in another career, why Laurel's come back.
And then I just like landed on the porch.
It was a trip sitting with you and Jennifer that day, shooting that scene. It was like, what was that?
That was really surreal.
Well, do you guys remember when I cried at the read-through?
What?
That's never happened. I cried at the read-through when you were back. And I've never had that happen to me. And to hear the second you guys started talking to each other, I literally welled up, and I was like wiping my eyes that my eyes would not stop watering. It was so meaningful, I think, because
it was good.
You know, the three of us were the only ones back at that point.
You guys were on a different journey, yeah.
Yeah, and we had been on it for a while together. So you were the first person to come along from that time, and it it just like, it overwhelmed me with happiness. I was just like, it just felt so
Bette and
good.
Tina were also always they were like the hearth, right?
Yep.
Like the warm
The anchor.
And all of us were like kind of, orbiting around and,
The anchor.
doing our thing. But we were always reliant on both of you or one of you.
Yeah.
I mean, they really told some great stories in the whole podcast. Leisha was saying how in the beginning she was unsure whether people were wanting to go to her shows to see Alice, and Laurel said she felt the same way about painting. And I've been to a bunch of Leisha shows, and I'm going to Laurel's show in the summer. And to me, I think it kind of blurs the line a bit. I mean, the first time I went to Leisha's show, I kind of went because I was like, oh, it's Alice from the L Word. But I think that after you see them in something like that where you're seeing another talent, because my only reference point was the L Word, but when I went to the show and I enjoyed the show and I enjoyed the music, it's like then you appreciate them as a musician or as an artist too. So maybe people go the first time for that television connection that they're in your house every week, but they stay because they're like a double fan of yours. They're a fan of you in the show, and then they're a fan of you with music or painting too. Two final things that Laurel was saying was how she thinks that one of the most important things now is for us to learn who is Carrie, what Tina is like in this relationship, and then she was also talking about Bette and Tina kind of cycling through this relationship. So it'll be interesting to see if we actually do fully cycle through, because the cycle usually is Tina moves on with someone else, Bette gets someone, and then back together. So is that going to happen? Well, I hope that Tina ends up with Carrie and then starts something with Bette. I don't want this whole, maybe they're trying to repair the sins of the past, because JB and Laurel Holloman have always said they hated that Bette and Tina got back together through an affair. So if we meet Carrie, she's dropped, carry on. Again, it will be super interesting to see who plays Carrie, because the only person we know for sure that is guest starring on season 2 is Rosie O'Donnell. I think that will be really interesting. I think that they should go in a complete different direction. Like, Carrie needs to be the opposite of Bette, and I'm here for it, but it better lead back to Bentina. And I think that wraps up pretty much everything for the Pants podcast, guys. If you want to listen to the podcast yourself, which I really strongly recommend you do, it's just Pants podcast. It's got, I'll put the logo up there so you can see it, and it's with Kate and Leisha weekly. I mean, if this is the first one you listen to, go back and listen to Jennifer Beals, Mia Kirshner, Erin Daniels, Sarah Shahi as well. They were all really good. And if you subscribe, you'll get it dropped every Wednesday. I have an iPhone, so it's on Apple Podcasts. That's why I always listen to it on. But it's on pretty much every other podcasting, everything you could possibly think. And best of all, it's free. If you enjoyed the video and you want Bette and Tina back together, like the video, give it a thumbs up. Let's get our little brigade rolling and get our Bette and Tina fans pumped up, ready for season 2. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, please consider subscribing, as you will be notified of every time I post a new video if you hit the bell icon, and you will get all the latest news on season 2. And I am also continuing my daily L Word advent calendar videos. Don't forget, on Fridays at 7 p.m. UK time, 2 p.m. Eastern and 11 a.m. Pacific time, I go live. And in addition, not this week, next week, the 20th, Sunday the 20th, I'm doing an extra live that week. The Friday one will also happen, just for an hour or so on the Sunday, because it's my birthday and I'd love to chat to all you guys. Also, don't forget to follow me on social media to keep up with everything L word related in between my videos. I post quite a lot over there, especially on Instagram, so check me out over there. And as always, guys, thank you so much for watching. You know, I really appreciate it. Make sure to take care of yourselves, stay safe, and I'll see you all tomorrow. Bye!